away for Christmas, our last big show on BT before the holiday. And as I'm sure everybody will remember 12 months ago, that wonderful fight between Carl Frampton and Josh Warrington turned out to be one of the fights of the year, one of the shows of the year. And I think that this promises to be a similarly tremendous occasion at the Copper Box. I think it's not far off sold out. So there might be a few tickets still available, but it's been going very well. So there's going to be a great atmosphere. And as you can see, and as you'll have read, some terrific fights. Top of the bill, Daniel Dubois. He's going to be talking to us in a moment or two about his fight against Kentaro Fujimoto. That's the main event, and also Liam Williams in action against Atlanta's Fox in a final eliminator for the WBO middleweight title. But before we get on to our main fights, and I shouldn't underestimate, of course, the return to the ring. I better give him the big mention, since he's probably got as many Instagram and Twitter followers as the rest of us put together. Tommy Fury, who's going to be back fighting his first time since he's been on Love Island, and looking forward to getting underway and getting back into the boxing ring where he says he feels most at home. Well, you can see there are some of the lads here who are featuring on the undercard, and I'll go from left to right first of all and say good afternoon first off to Troy Williamson, who's 12 fights, 9 stoppages, and 1 draw, I think, undefeated from Darlington. And Troy, pick the microphone up. Looking forward to being back in action, yeah?
Yeah. Hang on.
Just, that's up now.
Hello.
No, it's not. Another microphone which works, please.
Hello.
Just keep speaking, see?
Hello. Mic check.
That's working now, is it?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, Troy, your last appearance on the undercard of the Josh Warrington title defence, and resulted in a good win against Ben Douglas. How much did you enjoy that experience?
Yeah, I enjoyed that very much. It was a very frustrating week for me. For the full camp, we had about 7 or 8 opponents pull out. We accepted every opponent, which we always have, and very frustrating because we were travelling down to the weigh-in. I made the 11 stone limit on the way to the weigh-in. Halfway up the motorway, we got a text saying that my opponent had failed the medical. So we done a U-turn, spun round. We had to weigh in the following day at 4 p.m. and got a lot. Obviously, I woke up on the morning with no opponent, so I had to give a few tickets back, give a few refunds, and then about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, we got the phone call saying we've got a last-minute opponent, which was Ben Douglas. He's like a natural super middleweight, so obviously it was either fight or no fight, and obviously I'd done all the hard work training, sold a lot of tickets, so we took the fight and
got a stoppage win.
Stoppage in the 7th round, which was good.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you enjoy the experience of getting in front of a big crowd? Because there was a great atmosphere there.
Yeah, it was I've got a fan favourite style. A lot of the fans love my style. I'm there to hurt people, so, and I'm always in exciting fights. It was great to be there, and it was great to be in front of a big audience.
And where do you hope, as we approach 2020, where do you hope that the new year is going to take you?
Well, first of all, I'm not looking past Saturday night. Get this IBF European title, get that around my waist, and then I want bigger and better fights in 2020.
You talk about your style, and you've got a fan-friendly style. Who do you admire and look up to as a boxer?
Mike Tyson was how I got into boxing, but I love Miguel Cotto, I love Shane Mosley's style. They're the kind of guys that I watch quite a lot.
Are you a student of boxing? I always remember the first time I ever met Mike Tyson. I hadn't realised just what a student he was of the history of the sport. I mean, he's absolutely steeped in it. Do you follow boxing closely?
Yeah, I always try and watch the boxing, whether it's on Sky or BT. and obviously I watch a lot of the old style fighters. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a student of the sport, but if there's any good fights on that catch my eye, I try and watch them, yeah.
Well, you're telling me that, Stewie Hall, a Darlington man, you're from Darlington, there's not been too many others?
No, Stewie Hall obviously won the world title. Francis Jones, boxer of the British. Aggie Ward, I think he won a Commonwealth. That's about it, really. So, obviously, I'm the next up-and-coming prospect from Darlington, and I'm ready to take the phone.
Well, good luck, onwards and upwards, and we look forward to seeing you in action on Saturday night.
Thank you.
That's Troy Williamson, and alongside him, a man who's made some serious ripples in 2019, Archie Sharpe, who's going to be fighting in defence of your WBO European title, third defence, against Artomo Ramlafs. And last seen, you had that victory against Declan Geraghty at the Royal Albert Hall in September. Yep. He boxed really well in the early rounds, and then you gave him a bit of a fine punch.
Yeah, I found the shot in the end, didn't I? I found the shot, but yeah, fair play to Declan Geraghty. He was a very good fighter. I knew we had our work cut out. I think he won about 12 national titles as an amateur, so it was a banana skin fight to take. We took it, and we come off with a really good result.
You're in a division, the super featherweight division, which in the UK at the moment has some terrific fighters. I mean, we saw recently the fight between Anthony Kakachi and Sam Bowen, which was a really high-class fight. There's Zelfa Barrett waiting in the wings. Where do you put yourself in that group?
Yeah, 100%. There's like you say, there's some great fights in the super featherweight division at the minute. As you know, I'm ranked 5th in the WBO world ranking. Yeah. At the minute, I'm on my own little path. I'm trying to get up there and try and get the big fights in the new year.
Sam Bowen had some interesting things to say about you after that fight.
He probably did.
He says he clearly thinks that he wants you, and he says that you're deluding yourself if you think that you're in a different class to him.
Well, that's the thing, because he's a beaten man. He needs my name now. That's why he's saying my name. He's a beaten man. He's lost his belt, so he's going to want to keep mentioning mine or Barrett's name because he knows he's beaten now. And I see the state of his face. I haven't watched the fight back, to be honest with you, but I have heard he had his face punched in for the rounds. So yeah.
You've had a great year. I mean, you got the title by beating Liam Woodstock when there was the fight against Jordan McCurry, another one as well, a non-title fight, and then Geraghty. I mean, 2019's been special, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been a good year, yeah, it has been very good. It's been hard training all year round. Looking forward to Saturday. Hopefully get a nice good win there, big show. And yeah, like I said, bring on 2020, I'm looking forward to it.
And in theory, you've got that high ranking with the WBO. The WBO champion is a guy called Jamel Herring. Where do you feel you are there? How far away from maybe a world title shot?
Well, see, the thing is, Jamel Herring, by the looks of it, is going to end up fighting Carl Frampton now for the world title, so that fight's going to be tied up. Ideally for me, in the new year, I go out to America, go and spar a few of these big fighters out there, and it'd be nice to try and get the fight like Oscar Valdez or something like that, just to step up.
You think you might get a world title shot in 2020?
Hopefully it'll be spoken about for sure on the cards because it's something that I want to step out. Everyone can say what they want. Am I jumping too quick? But listen, I believe in my ability, I believe in my talent. I've done it all through the amateur game and now I'm doing it in the pros. Like I said, I've took 4 years to get to this title level. I had a nice good year there, big win on Saturday. And yeah, I want to jump straight up. I want to test myself and see what level I really am at. But I do believe I can beat the likes of Oscar Valdez and these fighters.
And lastly, while we're talking to you, I mean, the fans have really warmed to you, and you've produced performances and spectacular wins like you did in your last fight, and that fan base is going to grow.
Yeah, hopefully so. Like I say, I'll train all year round. I dedicate myself to the sport, and I hope to put on a good show for everyone every time I get in the ring and fight.
Okay, good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Hope you have a good night. Right, let's move to the other end of the table now. And David Adelaide, 22 years old, going to be making his professional debut. Young heavyweight who's had, you tell us, you've had a great career as an amateur. Tell us what you see as your highlights. You were the university champion. and you've gone on and fought at senior level as an amateur. What do you think's the highlights?
Yeah, I'm 23 now, just turned 23, but yeah, I won the junior ABAs, I won the senior ABAs, I won the novices, I won the box, I won the internationals, and yeah, it's been a good amateur career. I mean, I've done everything I possibly could have done, and I thought, you know, it was about time I kind of step into the pro game and take over from there. So, yeah.
You're graduates as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I graduated from University of Wolverhampton last year.
In business management, so nobody's going to pull the wool over your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, hopefully I know the sport. I studied the sport, so I mean, I'd like to think I know a lot about it. So yeah.
You actually studied boxing as part of your course.
Yeah. So in my final year, I did my dissertation on the actual sport of boxing, and you know, just kind of reading into it and learning everything, and kind of trying to look through the laws and see everything and see any loopholes and whatnot. So.
Were your observations well received? Did they like what you wrote?
I'd like to think so. I got a good grade, and I'm here now, so you know, I must have got a good deal.
How difficult was it, seriously, actually fighting as an amateur and getting your training alongside studying for a degree?
I mean, I started boxing when I was 15, so I started when I was in school, so school was always a thing for me. And I kind of wanted to get my education out of the way, as well as box. I was just juggling the both, going from school, going home. Then I did that same thing in college, did the same thing in university. And I was still training down in London, so my coaches was getting me bouts back in London, but I was training up in uni. And then I'd come down for my fights and then go back up. So I kind of got used to it after a while, especially being in uni for 3 years. In my third year, it was the norm.
And from here, I mean, it's when we first announced you as a signing with Queensberry, joining the promotional group, that was about 6 months ago. What have you been doing in the meantime?
Yeah, so I had a little injury, had to rectify that, and you know, go through like rehab, physio, make sure my hands were all good. And yeah, I always knew it would probably be the end of the year to actually start fighting. So I started sparring a few months ago. I felt good, and literally just got the ball rolling. And
can you give us a few names as who you've been in with?
In general, been in there with Chisora, Hay, Joyce, my stable, well, the boy used to be my stable mate. Yeah, I mean, yeah, who I've been there with the load of them.
And now, ready to go as a pro?
Oh, more than. I mean, I don't want to build my own champion. I'd rather let everyone else see it. So.
Exciting times for heavyweights in Britain at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. There's a lot of prospects, and I mean, Frank's got a good stable of heavyweights. I mean, everyone's young, everyone's determined. So, I mean, it's literally every man for themselves.
Well, I hope you have a good first experience on Saturday night, and hope very much that 2020 we see you moving forward and progressing as a young fighter.
Oh, thank you. I most definitely will.
That's David Holloway, who's going to be making his professional debut on Saturday night, and alongside him, a man who's also undefeated as a fighter, 11-0 I think now, Denzel Bentley, middleweight, and an exciting fighter. You don't hang about, do you?
No, not really.
What's the secret of the punch power which you have? 9 stoppage wins in your 11 victories. What's the secret?
You just got to land it.
Timing?
Yeah, timing, landing it in the right place. So yeah, it's working so far, so I'm going to keep doing it.
I was asking Troy about fighters he admired. When you were growing up as a young fighter, who did you look up to?
It's kind of mad because I didn't watch boxing as a kid.
Did you?
My first amateur fight at 19, so I started boxing late. I started watching Floyd Mayweather at first, and then I started watching other fighters, and right now I look up to guys like Andre Ward and Terence Crawford and stuff. So I'm a newcomer.
You come from Battersea.
Yeah.
You used to do a bit of fighting in your time there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
You care to tell us a little bit more?
Well, my older brother, brought some boxing gloves because, like, in the area, like, people used to fight a lot. So we just thought, you know what, let's get gloves. Everyone's all cool. Pay like a $5 and we go fight each other. So that's what we used to do. We used to fight each other in our block, in the pen, in the park, on the grass, everywhere. And then me and him were just kind of like beating everyone up. Just like, yeah, you lot are kind of good. And then when I got to college, I met a friend that boxes, and he took me down to the gym, Fisher, and then went from there.
How did it go when you first went into a boxing gym against guys who knew what they were doing?
I had a mare. I thought I was the one. I went in there and I got pinged about by someone that was about 60 kilos, and I thought, how's he doing that? And I learnt the trade. I realised it's not about swinging hard and trying to hit everyone, but obviously I've learnt the trade now, and that's what I am today.
Well, last time we saw you, you had a spectacular win in, what was it, just over a minute at the Albert Hall against Kelsey Bell. Big, fabulous, famous arena, big crowd watching. How did you enjoy that?
I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was good. I got a nice lot. The crowd was almost packed, and I got a good reception after the fight. It lasted a bit longer. You probably seen a bit more, but I'm happy the way it ended.
And you another one who works with Martin Bowers coming out of that gym. How's it all going as a professional? Because we talked about David's university degree. You were at university as well, but instead of sticking on for your degree, you decided to go and try it with boxing rather than get the academic qualification.
Yeah, with uni, because I started late. I was already in uni when I started, and I just felt like it's either I finish this and hang about, or just get on with boxing. And I just felt like I can go back to school whenever, really and truly. I've got the qualifications I needed to go back if I ever do, but I just felt like there's a certain amount of time you can be an athlete for, and I wanted to box, and I thought the older I get, the less chance there is of me being a boxer. So I decided to make that decision, and hopefully it pays off. And as you were saying about the gym, me and my trainer Ray Ball joined Martin Stable, which is the best decision I think I've made. There's a load of us, so Ray, Eric, Martin and Andre, they all help us down the gym, and it's been a great experience so far. Training along Danny DeBoer, like you said, and James Branch and Louis Lynn, Chris and all the other fighters, and we're just getting on really well. We're training hard to be what we need to be in the sport.
Another spectacular win on Saturday?
100%. I didn't get the fight we wanted, but that's all right.
And a spectacular 2020 to follow, maybe?
Yeah, hopefully we get the fights we've been asking for. You know, I've been asking for other fighters on British level and stuff like that. Asked for the Mark Heffron fight, but he got injured and stuff, so hopefully we can make it early next year.
You're against Mark Heffron, that's the one you're looking at as a potential?
Yeah, if we can get the British for that, and if he's up for it, and because I just feel like I need to get the fights that's going to start my name at the domestic scene, the domestic level and stuff, and I feel like that's one of the fights.
We look forward to seeing you again on Saturday night. Well, the title fight, which we're talking about next, is for the vacant British super flyweight title, actually last held, I think, by Sonny's brother Charlie, correct?
Yeah, never know.
He's here, is he? All right, okay. Sitting, I've got you. Somewhere behind Ron Lewis, not instantly visible. Sorry, Ron. So it's Sonny, who's undefeated as a professional, against Marcel Braithwaite from Liverpool, who gets his chance after recently winning the English title. Had a narrow win against Craig Derbyshire, but he managed to get home, and you get your chance as a result of this. It's going to be a big night for you, isn't it, Marcel?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a big night. I came into the year on a loss. I was depressed, and I got back on the horse. Was my trainer, Wayne Smith, he's phoning me every day just to remind me what I'm capable of in sport. So I got back on the horse, and then one fight was on Channel 5, and the English title fight came.
English title fight only about 8 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'm fresh off that, and I'm feeling good. I'm back happy. So I won the English title, and I was waiting for the phone to ring about this, and it did, and how would you?
Liverpool has an amazing fight history, if you like. It seems it's almost like going to Belfast. I mean, it's so big, the amateur sport within Liverpool, so many top clubs. Tell us about how you came to boxing. I
started boxing because when I was younger, I used to fight a lot. The reason being behind that is when I was very young, I done taekwondo at the age of 4. And the reason I done taekwondo, or at the time I done taekwondo, I had a little brother that passed away, and I didn't get to see him at the time, and it troubled me a lot as a kid. And but I used to fight at the same time, and that was the only thing that made me happy. I realised all of this when I took a loss last year, done some deep looking into psychology of why I actually do fight, and that was the reason being. It was the only thing that made me happy at a time when nothing else could. So from then I've always fought. That was my happy place. In school I was fighting. I'd go on the streets, I'd be fighting. And it's not like I didn't fight angry. It was just, I enjoyed it.
You feel happy?
Yeah, exactly. And it got me into a lot of trouble, and then my mum and dad pushed me into boxing. So got into Golden Gloves, and I was fell in love with it. I was getting praised for the things I was getting punished for at first. So I fell in love with it.
Golden Glove, that's Toxteth, isn't it?
Yeah.
The club you're from, so you're a Toxteth lad.
Yeah.
Got to be a fighter to come out of Toxteth.
I'm telling you.
And just give us an idea, if you were to win this, I mean, you've got the English title, we'll hear from Sonny's thoughts in a minute, but if you were to win this, what would it mean to become a British champion?
It means everything to me at this point in my life. It means everything. It means a lot to me. Just some things are priceless. When I won the English title, seeing the look on my mum's face was priceless. So for me, it's not about ego or want this title or that title. It's simple things like I made my mum proud, very proud, and that was something that I cherished. And this, I can do it again. I can do it again on Saturday night. So that's my motivation now.
He's a bit of a talent. You fancy it?
He is, yeah. No, he's a great fighter. He's skillful, do you know what I mean? But he'll bring out the best of me. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Well, Sonny, you hear all that. You're obviously going into this as the favourite, but it's an emotional story, a fascinating backstory, and I'm sure you respect somebody who's looking to fulfil a dream as he clearly is.
Yeah, I mean, I want to firstly thank Marcel, his team, his manager Steve Wood, for being relatively easy to work with. I'm sure that they're happy with their deal, their side of things, so that's always good as well. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we're both two young lads at a weight which doesn't get much exposure, doesn't get much glamour, and we're sitting pretty fighting for the British title, you know, both getting a nice chunk of change to take into Christmas. So first I want to thank them, and then obviously my promoter Frank Warren, BT, and my management MTK for once again putting me on these platforms. 12 months ago is really when I sort of come onto this scene, or just a bit over that when I beat Farag, and then my first fight on BT was a couple, 7 weeks after. And so I know all about, you know, taking your opportunity when it's there. So that I can understand and appreciate from Marcel, because if you really dissect the flyweights, super flyweights, there's not too many TV fighters. On the top of my head, I think you could say the three that are really about at the moment is Cal Rafa, who's a world champion, my brother, who's obviously a recent world champion, and then me, you know.
I think there's only about 13 super flyweights in the country.
Yeah, of course, and even great fighters like Jay Harris, Andrew Selby, they're fighting up on YouTube at the moment. So really for Marcel to get this opportunity and take it, relatively easy to make the fight as well, then I appreciate that. I mean, it's a fight I'm entirely confident on, but that's maybe not saying too much about Marcel, because I feel like I've come up here and said that and showed that in all the fights I've had in the professional ring. I believe in my ability and what I'm able to do in the ring, that at British level, because for me that this is like what this is at, like a true British level fight, I believe that I'm streets ahead of that. But until you show it, that's just all smoke and mirrors, you know what I mean? So this is really my opportunity to prove that. I know obviously Marcel has that one blip on his record against a tough Brett Fido.
Well, he blows hot and cold, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, I think when he wants to turn up, he turns up, do you know what I mean? And obviously they spoke about there was things outside of the ring, which I completely understand. My family have been through some hard times, and I know how it can affect you. You know, going into the gym every day, sometimes the fighting is the easiest part. It's that training when you're coming out of it and you've got so much, you know, at home. So, like, I respect that, so I'm not looking too much into that. People saying to me, oh, he can't punch, he ain't gonna stop no one. But if you look at his record, there's no one on there that he should have stopped. And if you look at my record, I've stopped the 4 fighters that I should have, and haven't stopped anyone that I shouldn't have. And then that's just the way it is.
So you're expecting a hard and maybe a long fight?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I ain't got pillows for hands, but I'm not the world's biggest puncher, so my game plan is never to get anyone out there early. It wouldn't make sense to gear up like that. And I know Marcel was tough, you know, the physical condition he comes in is a credit to his training, you know, and how serious he takes the sport. I mean, he could borrow me some abs, that'd be nice. But, do you know what I mean? I'm respecting him, and I know a lot of people, when I say the things like, I truly, in my heart, feel like there's no way of me losing this. It's not me being arrogant or overlooking him. It's my confidence and my belief in myself, which, people can take one or two ways. But I do respect Marcel. I've been up and down the country sparring, sparring Mohammed Wasim, sparring some great fighters, got in some good sparring, relative sparring as well. So I've not taken him lightly. I prepared meticulously, and that British title is something I've wanted for ages, and on Saturday night it should be coming home.
We will see. Vacant British super flyweight title is on the bill on Saturday night. These are some of the main undercard fighters who are in action. Our main event we're going to be looking at shortly, and before then the fellows are available for photographs. If you've not already taken them, they're here, so please take them as you will, and we'll have the usual face-to-face with Sonny and Marcel, which is the title fight, and they'll all be available as well for one-on-one interviews for anybody who wishes to do so. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.